Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and welcome to my channel Colonati. Today I'm going to revisit some more books that I anticipated being released in 2017. I'm going to tell you if I've read them yet, and if I have they met my expectations for them? I did one video like this previously where I covered my first installment of anticipated books for 2017, and this covers my second one, which was devoted to Tor.com novellas from the first half of the year. It was a bit of a cheat actually. 3 of the novellas I mentioned in that I had actually already read as ARCs in 2016, so it's been well over a year since I've read them. I think I will go over those first just to get them out of the way. The first one is Binti Home by Nnedi Okorafor, the sequel to Binti, which was one of my favorite Tor.com novellas like ever so far. In Binti, our main character leaves her people to go to university on another planet. She's the first of her people to leave, and in many ways she's defying the traditions of her people, and yet her traditions also help her when she's left home. And this one, you can tell from the title, Binti comes home and has to find out if there is still a place for her there. I enjoyed it, though I didn't think it was quite as magical as the first novella. Really, it felt like the middle step working towards the conclusion in The Night Masquerade. So I liked it. I continued to struggle a little bit with Binti's behavior, her personality in some ways, because she's very different from me. But it's different, and I think it's sort of a melding almost of science fiction and fantasy in some ways, which is something that I think Okorafor does very well. Then there are 2 by Seanan McGuire that I'd also read before they came out. Dark or Dawn or Dusk or Day, which is a ghost story and pretty much a standalone. I don't know if there are going to be any more books in this world. I don't remember the story of it very well. Honestly, it's escaped me pretty quickly, but I do remember how much I liked the premise of ghosts in it and how they can like take or give the time that they have left over. I really liked how the ghost world worked, and I wanted to know more about that. I think I had some issues with the conclusion and how the resolution actually happened. Like, there were some questions about how easy that might have been, but I still really enjoyed it, and I would like to read more about that character. The other one is, of course, Down Among the Sticks and Bones, which is not a sequel to Every Heart a Doorway, but the second in that Wayward Children series. Down Among the Sticks and Bones goes back to tell the story of the twins Jack and Jill and what happened to them in their portal worlds before they ended up in the school in Every Heart a Doorway. And so there are 2 things that I remember about this. One is, I think that the story about these girls, what happened to them, lacked some tension because I already knew the end. I already knew what was going to happen to them, but it was also like watching the inevitable, watching the train wreck coming towards you, like you know how bad it's going to be for them and how they're going to end up, so it's so difficult to read that. The second thing that I really admired the book for, what I really remember about it, is the theme about bad parenting, about parents viewing their children more as accessories than their children as people, and how damaging it is to try to fit a child into a role or a certain type of thing that doesn't suit them, that is so antithetical to their being. That's what happens to Jack and Jill. They're seen as accessories, they're put in these boxes that they don't fit in. It's not who they are. And when they do try to find out who they are, it can go disastrously wrong. I liked it, though it is very different from the first one, and I imagine the third one, Beneath the Sugar Sky, is going to be, once again, something completely different. Passing Strange by Ellen Klages. I think I might have read this one at the perfect time, in the perfect frame of mind, because I loved it, and I couldn't find anything wrong with it. It just seemed perfect in every aspect that I could look at the story from. This is pitched as magic in 1940s San Francisco, a city very suited to magical happenings. It did not end up to have the feel that I thought it was going to, but it still was so good. It's about a group of lesbian friends who are trying to live their lives to the fullest, to be happy but stay under the radar of the police and society that still, doesn't accept them. 2 of them, Haskell, who is an artist, and Emily, who is a singer, fall in love, and in order to be together, they need to escape. You could see this as historical fiction, you could see it as fantasy with a very light magical element, and I would also recommend it as an LGBTQ book because it does dive into some of the real history of LGBTQ people in San Francisco and that whole culture there, including a bar called Mona's, which was apparently a real thing. I would also recommend listening to Ellen Klage's interview on the Coup Street podcast because she talks in depth about the way the story came about and some of the real elements of it, which just, I think, enriched it even more. Next up is Idle Ingredients by Matt Wallace, which I've also read. It's the fourth in the Scene du Jour novella series about a catering company that serves the supernatural set, and it never goes well. There are always assassinations and wars breaking out and evil demonic Santa Clauses and Easter bunnies attacking people and lizard people, and maybe all the politicians are meat suits. It is fun action adventure, just a complete romp, and I enjoy all of them for that. I read Idle Ingredients back to back with the fifth one called Greedy Pigs, and they were both absolutely fun, you know? At this point, I think the series has really settled in and hit its stride. The premise has been very firmly established, the characters have been established, there's been good development with the characters and the storylines, and a broader story arc emerging to tie the whole thing together, and it's just really fun. I don't think I read enough things like this that are really just fun and escapist, and yeah, I need more of that. Brothers Ruin by Emma Newman, the first in the Industrial Magic series. This one was okay. It didn't blow me away. It felt like a solid setup story, but it seemed all premise, all setup details, and hadn't quite kicked off yet. So I'm pretty excited about getting to the next one called Weaver's Lament, which I think is already out now, because I think it will be a bit more actually on the ground, things happening and not more introductions. And last, and unfortunately least, is Proof of Concept by Gwyneth Jones. This is the one on this list I was probably most excited for because it was the science fiction novella. This is what I want. It promised artificial intelligence and possible interstellar travel and quantum physics, and I'm here for all of those things. And it just fell apart. I don't think any of the multiple parts of this ever gelled. The story seemed not to resemble what I was promised at all from the description. I didn't like the way it was written. I didn't like it. Too many things going on, none of them used to their fullest extent, nothing explained very well, and at the end, I don't remember the ending, it was completely unsatisfying. So, yeah. As it turns out, I think a bunch of the novellas from Tor.com that I enjoyed the most didn't even come from this list, like didn't even make it to my anticipated lists of the year for whatever reason. There are things like River of Teeth by Sarah Gailey and All Systems Red by Martha Wells that I didn't even think about reading. I didn't think they were quite my thing until they were already out and people were talking about them. So I guess I'm not as great at predicting what I will like and what I won't like as I thought I was. And there will be a ton more to read in 2018. So if you've read any of these and you want to talk about them, please leave me a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back to talk to you again soon. And until then, bye.